There,
Yeah.
I remember them, you know. They were here. Biscuit. Oh, quite a few of our people came.
Tom Gosh.
Yeah, quite a few of them. So they invited the people to the old hall close to Billy Sue's house, you know, where you lived on the end where the boat house is. Lamsatla Sanbanhanala. Lamsatli the Lil Kulatlai. But I can't remember what happened after that because I wasn't allowed to go. Lam Yahwatla Kanutli. Lam Yahwatli Billy Sue, I guess. Isn't Kotla. Charlie wouldn't let me go. It's what you know. That I remember, and that in the springtime gave me mango. He came to give a feast clean. I give it the kolyak was a la cape. Gave us a clean. And Hammond Sagilok, a lot of them came with him. Anyway, he came to see me and he said, "Let's Malo, I'm just Yahwas. Look, Esuquillo. Because we used to be the best dancers in Kingdom, you know. Just you two. Kios and the rest of so called Yahwas. Is the still part of them, you know how they dance. And Charlie said, "You can't go." I said, "See, he wouldn't let me go to the potlatches." Well, I know. Oh.
Yeah.
Come again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go get a few groceries and do my laundry.
Oh, yeah.
That's
So anything exciting, let me know.
Let's go and look for a rich Indian.
Down the lawn, yeah. So anyway, I said to Charlie, "I don't care if you beat me up, I'm going to this feast. This is my people, you know." So, malo manoh wahiaha yahwaka mango leha. Here, you know, on the thing, lamcha. It was a feast, not a dance. That's different, you see. Then Mrs. Stick jumped up, and old Naka jumped up, you know, lamcha, because it nikaslit all mango. And when I was coming out of the, Oscar Lewis was standing outside the hall. Jimmy Harville and Charlie Peterson. Dat Lucy lacha gehigen nog Lowells. Look Esuquilla. Maple Stanley too. And Jimmy Harville said, "Gives us yap we most year." He said that to Oscar. And Oscar said $10. And Jimmy Harville said, "Khale ni nu lo the guacoy." Giving away this money, Nikki. And I couldn't help it. I turned around to him and I said, "Well, if you didn't like them giving you $10, why did you accept it?" I said that, and I just kept going. You know that I'm but they accepted the money. You know? That's about all I know about Cape Mudge. Always I knew that the decks were important because Mrs. Old Lady, old Mrs. Stick, oh no. They were always doing some little thing, them old people. I remember that. And they were the two old people that I saw giving stuff away, the couple. And aside from that, I don't know anything else. Well, Sandy, thanks for coming and listening to us.
Oh yeah. We'll cook the stuff.
Yeah, if you can.
No, I'll figure this out.
Yeah.
So
Put your bag in there if you can. Yeah, okay, Sandy. Bye. Hila no ka rupi le trick wala nikis kasakita. Kan kak tola pida o sa la kilus it's la care kasa ho Caroline. Lily gets mad every time she talks about it.
Well,
You can shut it up.
Yeah.
He wants to hear the story about Umbli when he was young. Well, he's going to be... Is it already?
Yep, just tell him Umbli was your father.
Yeah, my dad, Umbli. When he was a young man, they told him that in a few years they're going to have a big tzeka. That those potlatches that lasted for 2 weeks, not 2 nights. So anyway, they made a fake accident in Guilford. He's supposed to have tipped over and got drowned outside. They found his canoe drifting. That's what they did. Like he said that he said, "Oh, Thomas, it's So anyway, they brought the canoe in and Umbli was gone. So, but the older people knew he's gone to purify himself to be a hamatza. But he stayed away for 4 years. The first 3 months, everything was okay. They were in Guilford. And Umbli would be way up on the mountain. He could look down. And that was his older brother, Billy, was the one's going to give the potlatch. And the younger brother has to be the hamatza. Chotams, not the older ones. That's another thing they're doing today that's wrong. I did that. Everybody said, "Why didn't you make Kel your hamatza?" No, it's got to be your youngest. And the reason they did that, because in the olden days, the older one will be doing the talking for your family. Your older son will be the speech maker or the negotiator. And once you're a hamatza, your voice is, you can't talk. Because that's a lady that's too big for you to talk loosely. You have to be quiet. So that was in the olden days. So anyway, Umbli used to look at his brother told him, "When you see me going by, I'll always have a sail, whether it's blowing or not, but that'll be, you will know it's me when you see the sail on the canoe." And you'd go in the evening and go towards where the graveyard is on the beach there, and leave Umbli's food there, you see. Well, everything was okay for a while. Then the seagulls and the crows, they got his food before he got there, because he had to wait till night. Nobody could see him. He couldn't talk to anybody. Couldn't even talk to his brother or anybody. And then he started, in the spring, everybody goes to Kinkham. You should get Lenny to tell you this. He really knows the story. The first night they're in Kinkham, they can hear Umbli up in the mountains, blowing his whistles there.
Yeah.
How did he get to Kinkham from Guilford? And in the fall, when they all come to, they leave Kinkham before the river freezes up. They get there the evening, Umbli's up there blowing his whistles up. You know, in that place in Guilford where them steps seem to go up on the side there. Anyway, we asked him, how did he always get there? He just got to know the seasons. He got to talk to the a band of wolves adopted him. And he went with them and they got food for him and everything. He lost his blanket. He never went to the beach to get his food anymore on Blacha. He just went wild, you see. Lived like an animal. And he said that he knows when the people were going to go. He used to come close to them, but he couldn't let anybody see him. So he could hear them saying, "We're going to go." So once in the spring and once in the fall is what you call a neap tide. That's the lowest tide of the year. Well, he knew that, and he walked all the way. There's a little place there. the boats can't go through there unless it's high tide, Abby. Maybe you know.
Oh,
Maybe. But that's the only thing. But tide is low and he walks and the water used to be up here. And he goes to the Kinkham side and walks. And the same thing in the fall.
Oh, I guess you mean that's what I guess.
Oh, klam wat je trekken, maar is hij toch maar koos uit la kwaest. Anyway, Glennie knows all this. You should, this is the guy you should talk to. Then when it was time, he knew anyway that his brother had told him before, if I have to talk to you, I will make a fire. If it's in Kinkham, we'll make the fire close to Hooptsaw. If it's in Guildford, we'll make it on one of those little islands outside the village late at night. Well, he had all his instructions before he went in the first place, you know. So he saw the fire there, he knew it's time. And he came down and he couldn't go near this. Anyway, he said that he had to be there. He's up here, and there's a big fire there having the beginning of the potlatch in the big house in Guildford in the winter time. And Umbly saw this, so he jumped down there. And Okono Bob was sitting on this rock behind Guildford. You know how it's all rocky? Sitting there with a blanket around. And Umbly jumped down right beside him and he fainted. Because Umbly's been away so long and he was so wild, you know. They had to shake him. First time, he's talking to them for the first time in 4 years. And he said those people smelled terrible. See, he's living the life of the animals out in the open. Because you see, that figures, that's in the stories, you know. So they made up what he was going to do. Umbly's going to come through the. He came through the roof.
Yeah.
They didn't come through the smoke hole either. That's not true. Bear. They say they used to jump through the smoke hole. That's not true. They pulled the wood, the cedars, mostly close to where the singers are.
Yeah.
So that the guy will jump down right in front of Kutsila Sasata Ditanhala. You see? Well, Umbly got me. And there was Peter Scow, Johnny Scow, George Scow. Those scouts were Umbly's nephews, you see? And they had, this was already done, double sailcloth, you know, at 4 corners. And all these people there hiding, put the wheat that is going to jump onto this sailcloth. And it was given to Johnny. The class.
Yeah.
Well, when he turned around, it was gone. One of the enemies took it, so that when Umbly dropped down, he would break his legs, you see. There was always this you know, but they didn't argue what they would do. Today they broke coppers for one another. It was more effective than bullshit, you know. So they said, what are we going to do? We can't hold him up there. He's got to jump down and this, you know, he's got to do this at the 3rd zone or whatever it was, you know. And took his green blanket.
Yeah.
And the other one, Williams, took his red one. Those Hudson Bay blankets?
Yeah.
It was double. He jumped in there. And his leg went right through. He did this, but his left leg went right through and he nearly broke his ankle. But The 2 blankets just saved his fall. They didn't stop it. It just went right through them. But he had been living like an animal and he was wild. He said it just felt like it was burning. He didn't know his ankle was broken or not, but he went on with what he was doing. So this is the wild man, you know. Oh. He had a hard time to be a hamatza. That's the story of Umble. The last hamatza, I like that because Aslam lausliga kuikelas nog la kwais dem schada kwale was Uncle Billy or
Yeah.
Lemon hamatza no kusanitze. My brother came through the roof. The last one. Sam. See, he was the hamatza because Watkini was older than him, so we follow in. I have tried to do as it should be done. Maybe haven't done it all the time right, but we tried. If Elsie and Katie would have kept out of the last one, nothing would have. Well, it was all right. Nothing was wrong, but. To maken met dat les alle jagen liggen aast een goedje las nog wel komen.
Yeah.
But it turned out okay.
When you talk a bit about that, what you know about that slaughter and how they brought it back to life again when our old people wanted to forget about it, what happened to the Quiquasino? Yeah.
Well, evidently years ago, when they were inviting people to their villages for potlatches, the Musqamab were invited to Bella Coola. So they all went up there, the name people. Isam ha wila leta achila ha tlisala. Hekiam ola kaleta ni nog sola. The name, what do you call the name people, the important people. A lot of the people that didn't care, or always the name people had to go because they have to remember their standing and their names and all this kind of stuff. So they went, and we know who stole the whistle. It's not been dead very long. They were in the chief's house, and they had a hamatza. Palkula okwa kahamatza no kwa. Lawa khatlawa a weekino. And those 3 tribes had hamatzas. That no other tribes had them. You have to remember that. So they all, well, she was a young girl, just a young kid. And they had hamatzas in Kinkum, but the one whistle they didn't have was the owl. Had the nala. They couldn't make that. They couldn't perfect the owl whistle. So she heard that in the. She saw this, and she. I guess they were talking about it, and the things were in a bag, and they said, "This is the one that sounds like an owl." Well, when everybody was asleep, she stole that and brought it home to Guildford, I guess, eh?
Yeah.
It took 4 years for them to get even with us. First of all, they came to Kinkum. They walked through the mountain pass there, and they died in that quicksand.
Yeah, quicksand.
Quicksand. What's the name of that place? Yeah, they died in the quicksand. They didn't know the route, so they went back, started to plan again. They came through Kinkum again, but they didn't come. They come by the river. They came on the other side in the spring, not knowing the Kinkum set all their nets out for the hooligans. So they tried to swim ashore to the village to kill our people. And the water was so cold they get caught in those nets. Next morning the people went to see their hooligan nets. Here they were filled with Bella Coola dead Indians. Well, that was a failure. So they thought they'll come by the coast to Guildford. They didn't get very far the first time. Then the second time, like the potlatches, all the people in Guildford were over in Memcumlis.
Yeah.
Somebody was giving a potlatch in Village Island, and as I said, the name people were there. Just the old people, the kids, and the ladies were home. And there was an invalid boy there that couldn't walk. He was crippled from birth. Well, they didn't go to the potlatch. But the Bella Coolas arrived. They said it was a beautiful night. Nikamle wahita ginginanam told their parents, "Hui alakta kota hakakotlasakwa." Nikamle wahita ginginanam, and they just told them to go to bed. So, you know, kids were obedient. They did what they were told in them days. They saw something strange. They had strange noises, but they wouldn't listen to that. They were all just women and old people. See, they all went to bed, and those people came ashore and killed everybody. Killed these people. And that crippled boy, he rolled into the nettle pit.
Yeah.
He was there for 4 days, rolling around. They had no pants on, you know. They just had little blankets, loincloths, you know. And when the 4 days was over, when all the noise quit, he got up and walked out of that nettle patch. That's how we know Pataya. And he said he saw women, saw the babies sucking on their mother's breast, but they had no more heads. He saw all this stuff. This. Ola mas mopen kwasasa ge.
Yeah.
Equila.
4 days.
So when they come home, there's a lot that the people were dead that had stayed home. The only reason they didn't kill them all because those ones that went to the potlatch, you see. So they were saved. And anyway, when Jimmy Seawood had his potlatch in Campbell River, he wanted us to forgive them because this feud's been going on for over 100 years. He came to me and Annie and asked us to be and Billy, my son, for us to be the first ones to sign this paper forgiving the Bella Coolas. And I said, not me. Isam Khan Wesla, and he said, not me. And I said, Billy, you don't sign that either. I still think about all the beautiful people that died from Kincombe and Guildford. Why should we forgive them, you know? So Jimmy got mad at us. You know who signed it? Was Evelyn and Paul Willie.
Yeah, but he changed it all that.
They signed that, and it was their grandmother that stole the matzis.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
Well, I didn't go to the potlatch.
It was Wayus that stole the matzis.
Yeah, I heard about it. And was Wayus terecht. You don't know that.
When we were in Charles Creek working in the cannery, all of us young girls were working in the cannery. Manta, Molly, Eliza, they were everybody, Lily, the scout girls. And that old lady, we were in these houses here, and the old lady had her little house there, and there was a little spring that went along under her house. So she used to just pull this little thing up and throw all the stuff in there, got washed away. Why was that?
Right.
We all run past her house on our way to work, and you know, she came out there and bawled us out because we were making too much noise. And Molly went like this. Maar ze was uit de kerk nog. Ja, ik was vol ja qua. Ga zo eens een kilo dit lachen met zes. Le me kwijt als de kieken te maken als een gekzoet en you shut your mouth. Nikki Molly ga vol ja goed. She went in the house and she cried all day. La, what we could hear her, you know. Whatever made Molly do that?
Yeah.
It was bad feelings. Those bad feelings, yeah.
He says, go for on seaweed.
Maar ze like it as Jimmy Seawood niks quick so I mean, where does he base that on? Did his mother come from there or his father? Because he didn't have a father. His father was dead when he was born.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, you tell me because
I've
heard
there with her.
Nas kwasa laka.
Niet het goede dat is. Je ziet dat lagen die hebben vandaag. Waar is het? Daar lagen begonnen.
Sit down.
Dit lagen naar Willis.